Bowled the PTQ, the qualifier in Kokomo, Indiana. And looking at the scores, you would say, JR just missed another cut. Oh, JR just can't figure it out. It might partially be true. I'm having a hard time figuring out my ball motion properly. I think because I've made some changes that I'm seeing things just a little different. I got so much dog hair on me. My dog's with me, so we travel with the puppy this week. But I'm heading home now. I'm not sure. You can probably see these clips over here of some of the shots that some of the guys threw. But, it was a day of frustration not because I didn't know what my ball was going to do per se, but because I couldn't get it to do exactly the right thing to throw enough strikes. Because they weren't hard. They were definitely, the scores were a little higher. You put that pattern out for the main field and the scores would have been even higher than that. Because, those bowlers are just a little bit different caliber than the PTQ bowlers that we are. So, and I honestly, I feel like, and it's nothing against the bowling center, I think Dave Small does a great job with his bowling centers. His places are awesome. But the pins there were really dead. They was almost, I don't know if they were just too old or I'm not really sure. Maybe it was just me, but I felt like they just laid down. Like it was just like they just went, ugh. They just kind of fell straight down. You didn't see a whole lot of messengers. You didn't see much happening outside of that. If the pins were flying, the scores would have been silly. But I pulled up my lane talk stats, and I left 17 10 pins in those 8 games. And I think it was like 13 or 14 of them were in the first 5 games. Like it was obnoxious. And I left like 8 4 pins, a couple of blower 7-10s, a couple of swish 7s, a couple of stone 9s, like a lot of single pins. And I only struck like 54% of the time, which is not good when the scores are high and you need like 225 a game. So it was, I felt like my ball reaction was pretty good. I started with the purple hammer. I struggled with feel early. I drilled a smaller thumb because my thumb's been shrinking. It's the thumb I was using in that Venom video. If you saw that Venom review on the BowlerX.com channel, make sure to head over there and go see that. That was a really good review. I had a lot of fun with that one, and some people are like, why you gotta be, like, why can't you just review the ball? Why can't you, why you gotta be all making jokes and, we're trying to be serious here. All right, y'all, whatever. Anyway, but that was a new thumb. It was a smaller thumb. And I tried to start with it yesterday, and it was a little too tight. So I started with the bigger thumb, and then it was just coming off my hand inconsistently again. So eventually, after game 2 of struggling with this bigger thumb, playing with tape and everything, and I bowled 220 the first game and 180 the second game, and the 180 was pretty good as far as execution goes. And when I say inconsistent at the bottom, I'm talking, 2 or 3 shots in those 2 games that were just like, they were just awful. They still got to the pocket, but they just had no chance. If those 2 or 3 shots strike, now we're looking at like 440 for 2 rather than 410. 30 pin swing, maybe more, maybe 450, 460 for 2. But yeah, it was tough trying to get the corners out. So I switched to the other thumb. Once my thumb finally felt like it was shrinking enough, all of a sudden I went to the new thumb. And then after that next game, I bowled some pretty good games throughout the day, but after that game, my thumb kept shrinking. So now the small thumb was starting to feel even smaller. So I was putting tape in that one. So that must be the right move, because that's generally what happens is your hand starts to shrink because it's pushing that lymphatic fluid out of the knuckles, out of the joints, and that fluid is just no longer swelled. You're not swelled on the joints anymore. So that's a good thing. So I'm going to work with that a little bit. At the end, I bowled 230 the last game, and I just said, I'm going to go against the grain here, and I'm just going to try to twirl it in the middle of the lane, throw it to the right, and see what happens. And I put together a 4 or 5 bagger at the end to get to 230 the last game, and just missed the refund by, 6 pens or something like that. I took the top 26, ended up getting the 250 to getting your $250 back. I ended up finishing tied for 27th. So cool there. But I mean, I didn't bowl bad. I just kind of scored bad. I just couldn't figure out how to get the ball to go through the pins the right way. It was funny. Cody, actually, he came to me at the end and he's like, oh, I couldn't get the corners out. And I'm like, bro, I don't want to hear it. I guarantee you I left more 10 pins and stuff than you. And he's like, no way. There's no way. And the guy he crossed with was right there. He's like, tell him how many I left. Well, I went and looked at Lane Talk, and yeah, I definitely left more corners and stuff than him. So, and he was the one. He actually was the cash spot for the $250. So, eat me, Cody. But anyway, you know what? That was actually a pretty good event. I didn't. Not making the field sucks. You want to make the field, but you know what? At this point in my game, I'm just trying to build some confidence, some consistency with what I'm trying to do. Getting to try some of these new layouts and be out there and just bowl and be able to, put some things together. Like, I'm not in a situation where I have to be making cuts and making money, otherwise I can't bowl. Like, money's not really the problem with this stuff, so I'm just going to keep bowling and have some fun, and it's what I love to do, and it helps me to learn and gain more knowledge and to be able to teach others as well. So with these clinics that I have coming up, I've got some subjects that, there's going to be a virtual clinic coming up. You'll be able to sign up for that at 10pindoctors.com. I'm going to put a link down in the description. You'll be able to sign up for that. You're able to request your own clinic. You're able to request virtual lessons. I've got probably a half a dozen or so people in the last couple of days that have signed up for virtual lessons, so I'm going to get to those here soon. So make sure to go sign up for those things. Those are a good way to get with me when you can't make it up for an actual physical lesson. And as of right now, until May, I won't be able to do physical in-person lessons because of how busy the shop is. So just make sure to get with the virtual lessons and sign up for the virtual clinic. We're going to talk about a lot of different things online, and you'll be able to learn a lot of different things from the virtual clinic as well. So make sure to get signed up for that here as soon as I have that up and ready to go. But yeah, it was a good tournament. I'm getting ready for the Masters next week. We have practice on Sunday, so for those of you that are into the Detroit area, come and see me. I'll be at Thunderbolt for the practice session. If you see me, you see me with my jersey on, the name on the back, come up and say hi. We'll chat for a minute and whatnot. And trust me, even when we're bowling during the event, I know I look and this is something I don't get to explain very often, because I have people all the time. They're just like, oh, he always looks so mad. He's like, I think when people call me the asshole, they're like, oh, he's such an asshole. He's always mad. He's always like, no, I'm focused. Like I'm in my zone trying to figure things out, all that stuff. So, but then as soon as somebody tries to talk to me, it's like my mood just goes whoop, and it changes, and I'm all of a sudden, I'm talkative and everything. So anybody can talk to me at any time. I'm not like some of those guys that are going to be like, oh, don't talk to me. Don't talk to me. I'm busy. Do I come to you in your office? Stuff like that, silly stuff like that. I don't do that. So anybody is welcome to talk to me. So for those of you that have been afraid, I get messages all the time that was like, oh, I wanted to come say hi, but you looked like you were kind of struggling and, frustrated, so I didn't want to bother you. You're not going to bother me. Trust me. Some of the other guys you might bother, you're not bothering me. I'm always wanting to talk bowling. I'm always wanting to talk to people and meet people and stuff like that. So come on up and say hi. But anyway, that was that. So I'm finishing my drive home. I'm going to go pick my boy up from school. Then I'm going to go to work for a little bit, maybe get some practice in. Actually, no, I got to go to the gym. I need to go to the gym since I got a full week of no competition until the weekend. So we're good. So I'm out of here. We'll see you guys later.